One.
Rabbi, so welcome back to Yerushalmi Shabbos Perek Shishi, which is Halacha Tet, which is page Mem Zayin Amud Beis. Yeah. Okay. Other things you're allowed to go out with on Shabbat. On Rabbanim Yotzin B'Kasharim. The boys can go out with Kasharim. No, they want us to explain what sort of knots we're talking about. But B'nei Malachim B'Zogin. The princes can go with various golden bells which they wear as an ornament. And Kol Haloshon, anyone can go out with these things, even a poor man. But a common occurrence was that the princes would do it. Yotzin bebeitzas hachagol. You can go out on Shabbos with a. It's a type of locust, the egg of a locust, one of the sheretz ha'oif, which the Torah allows you to eat. And this was a sort of segula, which we'll discuss. With a shen shel shu'al, and a fox's tooth. With a masmer hatzoluv, the nail taken from someone who has been crucified. Now, whether he's been hung first and they put nails to keep him hanging up, rather than actually killing him with the nails. This is, of course, a Roman practice. In the shape of a cross, I don't know what, the nails and the blood would come down till he dies. I don't have to make it too graphic, I suppose. Sometimes they would spear a person as well. So tzolov, of course, means someone who's hanging. All right. Now, these things were mishum refuah. They had some segula medical value, and they're not considered a load. Divrei Rav Yossi, that's Rav Yossi's view. Rameir forbade it af b'chol. Even on a weekday, mishum darkei ha'emoiri. He says these are the ways of following the emoiri. These are not proper natural refuahs. These are considered nichush, part of divining. Which anyway, and there's the issur to follow the ways of the emoiri, right? That's the general issur of darkei emoiri, right? Like not having flowers at a funeral because of darkei emoiri. Not to follow their practices which don't have some logical reason, right? Because these maisim are crooked and they often have connections to Avodah Zarah. Okay? Others say there's pritzus in some of their actions or Avodah Zarah connections, even if there's no other issur. There are many sources for the issur, etc. Nichush. Now, nichush through Rashi's lashon is things where yisodos are in tiflos, in foolishness, not necessarily issur loisa nachashu, not necessarily the divining issur. Various other things are included in that. Okay, so where have we got here? B'nei Malachim, where are we up to? Abanim Yotzin, B'Kasharim. Yeah. The Abanim go with these knots. What does it mean? B'Kishrei Puah. Now these are various sort of posies. They would plants which they would hang at the neck for refuah. Some sort of plants, golden flowers, this plant, etc. But B'nei Malachim b'Zugin, and princes would go out with Zugin, with the golden rings which they wear for beauty. Rav Zira said the heter is for a prince to go with these bells, but Zugin Shabbat, these bells that are tied around the neck, I mean, there's someone, and he says, and a big man is not allowed to go out with these bells tied around his neck. But B'nei Malachim means young children. But then, Ma'u v'chol adam, but what does Mishnah says? Anyone's allowed to do it. It means Ben Ketani Aniyim, Ben Ketani Asherim. So the children of rich people or the children of poor people can do these things. Rabbi Ela Amar, he said, Bezugin Shebeksusa, these are bells that are attached to his garments, like the Kohen Gadol had. Ma'u v'chol adam, what does it mean every person is allowed to go with these things? It means Ben Ketani, Ben Ketani, adults or children. Maznisa Pliga, the following brisa argues on Rav Zira. Anyone is allowed to go with these bells attached to his garments, but not with the bells attached to his neck, around his neck. So you see, you cannot wear these things around the neck on Shabbos. And that goes against Rav Zira, who said that the Mishnah allowed it. And the Bryce is talking about adults that can't wear these rings around the bells around the necks, but can. Our Mishnah is spectacular with children who are allowed to. Yotzin bebeitzas hachagol. So you can go with the egg of this locust. Tav le'udna is good to heal a pain in the ear. With the shein shel shuo and the tooth of a fox. Tav shleshena is good for sort of sleep deprivation. A tooth taken from a living fox helps for someone who sleeps too much, rather, to stop him sleeping.
What's the previous
one? If it's a dead fox, then it helps for someone who can't sleep, to cause him to sleep. And what were you asking me?
What is it, the egg?
The chagol, the locust, is good for the ear. Good for the ear. Udna is here, yeah. To help with the pain in the ear. All right. Tav la akvisa. The purpose of it is good la akvisa masmat salov, but this nail is good for various wounds. Now Rabbi Yossi allows you to go with these things which are mentioned for refuah on Shabbos. Rabbi Meir forbade it, even on a weekday. Is tonight Tanya Machlif. Some learn the brises which changes the opinions around. So Rabbi Meir allows these refuahs even on Shabbos. Rabbi Yossi is the one who forbade it. Rabbi Hanania b'shem Rabbi Yochanan k'mas nisa. He took on like it says in our Mishnah. Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Vav b'shem Rabbi Yochanan kol shu merape even shem darkei mori. Look, if something heals, it's not a problem. Even if these things are mentioned, if it actually does heal. So he passes like Rabbi Yossi, who allows healing with this thing, with the fox's tooth or whatever it is. Now, so they bring here. So exactly what the Issa in Darkei Mori. Maybe say anything where there's a refuah, you're allowed to use it, whether we can understand how it works naturally or whether we don't understand. And it appears that it heals through some segula aspect. So you can use these segulas mentioned in the Mishnah and various other lachashim and so on, because these things were checked out, they said it helped. Things which have no yesod in Teva, and we don't really understand if they work, and you use it, you're sort of investigating these ways of the guy, and that's forbidden because of Darkei Mori. Some say a lachash, which is l'shem refuah, is permitted, even those which we don't know if they work. Because derech klal, we know there are lachashim which do cause a heal. Yeah, saying over some phrase or whatever it is, and we don't know the difference between this lachash and that lachash. Things which we just do as a segula are forbidden unless we know they work. Rashi learns anything which heals is not Darkei Mori. It means medicines you take in your mouth or ointments you put on a wound, where we can see it in its own right that it helps, right? But a lachash, something you say over where it's not noticeable with the refuah, is forbidden. And the Rishonim ask on him, so then why does the Mishnah allow you to go with a fox's tooth or the nail? How is that going to help, right? Surely there's nothing noticeable about their healing. I think one brings many examples of lachashim which you're allowed to say. So the Rashba says Hashem put in the koiches of others to do refuah from various illnesses. Some are natural, which we understand, and some are segulas, which we don't understand. There's no reason to limit teva to what we think we understand. Because refuah, which is not in seichel, can also have some refuah that Hashem put into it, into the bria. Do you follow? So we don't have to say it's just what we understand is what works. You see drushes around you, there's a discussion on that. Okay. After we've learned, segulas which are permitted, another three things are forbidden because of Darkei Mori. Dargi dar givas. Dargi dar givas. This is a lachash. I'll go up steps, as it were. I'll go up steps. Mishum Darkei Mori. That is the problem of Darkei Mori. Whoever, I don't know, the person saying this, I don't know. Rabbi Yehuda, he says Mishum ledogain, because the problem is it's connected with dogain, which is avodah zarah, and he brings a pasuk from Shimshon. The two hands of the idol, etc. So this lachash is not only Darkei Mori, but it's a reference to avodah zarah as well. Dunu donai, be strong, my barrels of wine. Mishum Darkei Mori, that is a problem. He says Mishum dam, because dan is a center for avodah zarah. Avodah zarah, right? Dan avodah zarah. Ba'amra, they said Chaya lehecha dan. Chaya lehecha dan. They're also saying this as a vera of the Issa to call in the name of avodah zarah. It's not just Darkei Mori, right? It's not just the ways of Darkei Mori. Okay. Lav. If you say that expression, no, is Darkei Mori. is also a dark Emory. Now, this is why you say it like a person hears some bad things. He says, no, quietly to himself. The Torah shouldn't come on him. It's a lachash, which the goyim had. Some say they used to answer requests with this double wording. When there was no need for it, when a person just asked you something straightforward, and you didn't urge him to give it, then you don't say it. It seems they had this is connected with Avodah Zarah. Some say when you want to request something and you've really asked for it a lot, and you say over the story, the person would deny it, even if you know it was true. I don't know, they would use this lashon, whatever. And we find these people who leave Hashem, that they use also a double lashon of two shlilas. So it's like a double expression there. Okay. They said Sumimenu and Dadrachach Lechavatznu. Tani Rebeles Ben Yaakov. It says Leisa Nachashu, Leisa Einenu. Alpha P. She'ein Nachash. That even though there's no heter to do a Nachash, this divining thing, Yesh Simon. There is a heter to follow a sign. Yeah. It's only when you put your actions completely reliant on Simonim. You're allowed to see, based on various things, a sign for the good or for the bad, and join them together. Okay? When you want to decide on your action. The marshal, a person went to live in a new house, and he was successful. He's allowed to, let's say the first thing he did didn't work out. He's allowed to worry that maybe it's because of the change and go to change things as a result of it. Or if he did well, he'll continue in it. Yeah? Some say it's when you put your actions based on various things that happen which are not at all connected to that story. Right? There's simanim with a goyim. If a deer crosses your path, yeah? It's a sign you might not be successful as you go back home. And if you're successful with various business, you can see that as a simon, you'll be successful in the same thing. Okay? Ovelvad, and providing the person does this la'acha shloisha simanim, he has three signs. Kigoim, for example, Yaakov, he explained the three signs which happen. The first one was Ani b'vayim and Padon. Mesa, is that this week's Sedra, Rabbi Isai? Yeah. May b'vayim may Padon. Mesa alai Rachel. Rachel died against him. He says here, instead of bringing the pasuk about the mice of her death, he stressed Mesa alai. He saw it as like a bad sign for his mazel. Yeah. Yosef enenu v'Shimon enenu v'Binyamin tikachu. Yosef wasn't here and Shimon wasn't here, and Binyamin you would take. I mean, I had a son when I hadn't made up my mind whether to get married or not, and I wasn't sure. And my wife came from a street in Ilford called Falmouth Gardens. And my father, he didn't know where my wife was from at all. He didn't know. We knew Ilford, but he went to a car boot sale. And he picked up a little driving wallet. You have a little ID card thing. And the next day or something, I looked at it. It said, "Good luck from Falmouth," it said. Right? This is a tourist thing from Falmouth in Devon, in Cornwall, wherever it is. Don't ask me how it ended up in a car boot sale in London. I have no idea. But I took it as a sign. Yeah, I took it as a sign. Yosef enenu. Okay, these were all these things. So there's all these things that happened to him. The Bavli only brings the last pasuk, mentions his two children. Yaakov didn't want to send Binyamin. He didn't want to have the third trouble. Then he would have been muhzak with troubles. Okay. Amar of Lazar, Hachin achashmias baskal. You're allowed to follow the baskal. Now, you hear a sound. This is not from Shemaim necessarily, but you hear a sound which is like, could be one or two sides. Matam, what's the source of this? You'll hear a sound from behind you. This is the way you should go. Now, we find baskal in various places. Right. Baskal is telling him what's happened. Sometimes you can see in a voice something from heaven. He says you say something with kavanah and someone else hears it, happens to be hearing this, and gets an answer for his doubt. Yeah? We have this in Bavli Megillah as well, Rashi appears the kavanah is you don't see from where the coal went out, and you can assume that this coal is some sort of nevuah from heaven. Marshal brings that. Some say it's not like the baskol coming from heaven. Baskol comes from heaven, which is that you have to follow. It's not as if you have a choice. That you have to follow. Okay, let's carry on. So this is a discussion what baskol we're talking about. Let's carry on. Rav Lazar ala punya. He went to go to the bathroom. Also, to Nuyuna to remind. Now, a Roman general came along. But Al-Kume Me'asre, he chucked him out of the bathroom, and put him in his place. So the Roman took the place where the other Rav Lazar had been. And Amar Hachin, Rav Lazar said, wow, from all the people who are sitting here, the officer didn't chuck anyone else out except me. It must be from Hashem. It can't be that I'm going to leave from Yad. So let's see what happens. There was a snake. Shari Nafik started going out of his place when the Roman sat there. And he put a bite from his back, achas to ribai, and his stomach fell down because of the venom. And Rav Lazar said on himself, I will put a person in your place. But nothing we can turn and kiss him. He went out to chop wood. A person from another nation saw him. And a snake, someone saw him, a snake was running after the Talmud. He says, the snake running after you. So the snake left the Talmud now, and went after the other person instead, the one who was cutting the figs or whatever it is. He was like from another nation, and he got bitten. This person will be in front instead of you. Germani Eved, maybe German Eved, or could some Germania, that's not necessarily Germany, but there's a whole discussion on that as well. Whatever, an Eved who of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi by Rav Hila. He wanted to escort Rav Hila to now, who just come now from visiting the Nasi. Also, Kelev Shaita, wild dog came by his Garia Bari Lila. He wanted to attack Rav Hila. The servant shoved him off and upset him. Shav gave Azare Basrei. Now the dog ran after left Rav Hila and went after the servant and attacked him. The Karayallah and Rav Hila said, Adam Taftacha, I put a person in your place. So they bring the snake was sent from Shemaim to bite, let's say, the Talmud we had before. And it stops there and it bites the other person. But the guy does a good meiser by warning him of a snake and gets bitten himself. He says, first there's a gezerah on that Talmud, maybe because of something. So the snake was running after him. But since the Talmud heard he was in Sakana, he did teshuvah. And because of that, the gezerah went away. And the other person was other sins he must have had, obviously. Yeah? That's why the other person was attacked. He went to one town. When he went there, Nichshal, he was stumbled, but he hurt his finger. He went in the town. He heard the voice of the children saying, if he comes alone, he'll go out alone. It appears, I think the only thing that happened to me is I hurt my finger. That's what happened. They wanted a journey to Babel to go and see the face of Shmuel. Amrin, they said, let's follow Baskol. Let's try and hear something of Remez about our journey. Avri Kumi Sudra, they went in front of the base of Medrash. Shamun Kale, Italia, they heard a voice of a child of Shmuel Mace. The Pasuk says Shmuel died. So the Simon, and they took that as a sign that they're not going to bother journeying to Shmuel because they think Shmuel's dead. The Chen Abasley, and that's actually what had happened, that he did die in that time. Rabbi Yoina, the Gemara in Bavli actually says a similar story, but he says it wasn't true. Shmuel had not died, but the Shemaim didn't want them to make the journey, not to bother them to make the journey. That's the Bavli version. Some say it was maybe he was very old still, but he was going to die very soon before they'll manage to reach him. So they're telling Rav Yochanan not to bother going. Right, don't go for nothing. Rabbi Yoda, Rabbi Yisa, Salkun Mibakra. They wanted to visit Rabbi Acha to have a tashi. She was weak. Amrin, they said, let's follow Baskel to decide whether to go. Shamin Khaliditsa, they hear the voice of a woman. Amr Lachabet, she tells a friend, it's Boitina. Has the light gone out? Amr, she said, no, the lights have not gone out. So they saw that as a sign, Rabbi Acha was still alive and he was going to get better. Rabbi Yochanan have a Bashuka. Going in the market, a person saw him that he sold nice sweet bakery stuff. Amalei says, you're living from this. Amalei in. He says, yeah. Fine. Rabbi Yochanan went on his way. A while later he came back, passed by again. Amalei, and the seller said, Rav, pray for me. From that time you were here last, I've not sold klum, I've not sold anything. Amalei says, Shani Asrech, change your place. Because Pa'amim Shini Hashem Gorem, sometimes change of name can be affecting your muzzle, and Pa'amim Shini Hamakom Gorem will change of place. So here, the guy, Rabbi Yochanan was wondering, how is he successful in selling these bakery stuff? And that caused an Ein Hara, or his muzzle was affected. Some say that the fact that he looked at his business with amazement caused Rabbi Yochanan to have Ein Hara. And others say, a person should never open his mouth for the Satan, right? Right? Okay. Therefore, one shouldn't mention even these things which don't want to happen. You shouldn't call the dibur, shouldn't cause it to happen. Okay. Where are we? Yeah. Train Talmidin, Min Rav Chanina, two times Rav Chanina, Menafkin, Mikter, Kissin. They were going out to chop wood. An astrologer saw them. He says, two of these two, when they go out, they won't come back. When they went out, an elderly man met them. He said, give me tzedakah, give me to eat. This needs to I'm not eating for 3 days. One had a bit of bread. He cut half of it and he gave it to him. He ate it, he prayed for them. Yeah, you should be fulfilled on this day. Like you helped me and you fulfilled, you gave to me. They went out in peace. There were people who heard the sound of the astrologer and that they won't come back. So they said to the astrologer, you said they're not coming back. He says, if that's the case, then he's a lie. Then his astrology is lying. So I have to admit that my astrology is nothing. Even so, he checked out and found the wood of the two Talmidim, and he found a snake around it. Cut in two. Part of it was with the wood of this Talmud, and half was with the load of the wood that cut by the other Talmud. They understand that really, yes, they should have died. They said, what mitzvah did you do this day? They told him the story. He says, what can that person do? Him talking about himself. What can I achieve? That your God is appeased with a half a loaf of bread. He said the following story. He was once a ger who was baki in Chochmas and Staninus. And he was baki in he was a ger who was in astrology. Yeah. So I was reading the little print by mistake. So once he wants to go on a journey, he says, do we go this time? Since it's a bad muscle to go now. So he decided he'll stay at home. But after that, then he said, surely I connected with this nation to separate from these typical things of stones and mazalas. So he went on his journey. I rely on the name of my Creator, he will save me, despite the astrologers. And when he was going on the way, he was attacked for animals, and he was nearly killed. So to save his life, he gave the donkey to the animal, and the animal ate the donkey. What caused him to fall into this dangerous situation, begin to harm because he had initial thoughts. And why was he saved? Because in the end he relied on his creator, and he decided not to follow the stars. Anyone who tries to know the future through nichush, through divining, and doesn't go into mimus, these things will come on him. What's the source of this? Kilai nachash b'Yaakov. We read it kilai. There isn't. But you can also read it live with a vav. Kilai will be for him. The nachash will result going on him, and the result of the nachash will reach him. Yeah. If you don't follow these divining things, menachesh will be together with the angels. Mourn the angels. What's the source? That the Malachim will ask the Jewish people, you've distanced from all these divining. What did Hashem teach? Now you'll be so close to Hashem more than the angels. Right? In this world, the Tzaddikim sit before Hashem and they will learn Torah from his mouth. Sorry, not Adam Abba. And they will be able to ask whatever they want. Midah keneged midah. They will get the schar ka'es. That means at the time, this time. Okay. After half the time is gone from the beginning of the world till the time of Mashiach, Bilam was saying his nevuah. Matam, what's the source for this? Ka'es yom Yaakov and Yisrael ma'palel. Like this time, it's much better. It will be when the time comes, an additional time like this time, then everything will be realized. Like the time that's gone from the beginning of creation till now. So it's like half the time of the world, as it were. Ka'es, like Ka'es Hazois. So 2,486 years, Bris Ha'olam till this time that Bilam was standing. Based on this, the Geula of the Kates will be 4972. Well, it didn't happen then. But it depended on them doing Teshuvah. And since we didn't merit, so many years have gone by. Some say this is the Geula, the Gan wants to say this is the Zman of the Geula Asida. It wasn't Kedai to make a Zman for Geula. Okay. Amar of Yemia ben Elazar, Asida, Baskal, Lias Mefut Tzetzes. The Baskal will call out, Baalei Tzadikim, I'm coming Shapalim. Well, anyone who did do things for Hashem, he learns the Torah to Hashem, Yavav Yitzchak will come and take his reward. It will make the areas of the Tzadikim within the areas of the angels. They'll be outside. And the angels say, what did Hashem teach you? Yeah? He's like Pearl El. There is a second in his Torah, you have like new alamas which are created. Okay. Levi Bar-Chiyusa. They'll get the high madrega more than the angels, but already in this world, we can learn from Hanani Mishov Azariah. They were saved from the furnace, when they were thrown in. And Ana Va'ama Nebuchadnezzar says, there were four in the fire. Now there were these three and someone else. But they weren't hurt. What does it mean? They weren't wounded. It's extra. They were eunuchs and they were healed. But Rabbi, they can reach a level. Rabbi Dikan Misa, it says, it doesn't say in the pasuk, the following pasuk, the first one looked like a malach. And the fourth one looked like an angel. The fourth one looked like a malach. So we see Hanani and Azariah were pounding the fire down to put it out in front of the angel, and he went after them. He was the fourth one. So the kach of the tzaddikim was greater than the kach of the malach. He said they looked like Balehin. He was slapped on the face by a malach. I'll put him on his mouth. Change your words. You think Hashem has a son? You think Hashem has a son? And then Nebuchadnezzar went and said, of these three, blessed is the God of these three. These were their names. who sent his angel and saved you. Dishalach berei legstivkan. It doesn't say he sent his son. Ella. He sent his angel and he saved his servants who trusted in him. So Nebuchadnezzar learned the message, and then he didn't call a Malach Ben Elohim after that. Okay. Klal Gadol Amar b'Shabbos. Yeah, we have an important rule when it comes to Shabbos. If you forget the main command of keeping Shabbos, then you did many malachos Shabbos about many weeks. You bring one chatas. It was all one mistake. You didn't know the din of Shabbos at all. You know the main din of Shabbos. You made many malachos many weeks because you didn't know those days were Shabbos, and you did malacha. You had a mistake. You didn't know. You thought it was a weekday, and you made a mistake a few weeks running. Shabbos for Shabbos. Then you're liable for each Shabbos that you broke. Right? They were done in one hairlam. You never found out in between. But the days between Shabbos are considered Yediyah Sachet. So that divides up the different weeks. Vayidea Shehu Shabbos. If you know Shabbos, you can't do Malachas. Malachas Haba Shabbos is Haba. You did many Malachas on many weeks. Then, because you didn't know the Malachas are forbidden, Chayav Akam Malacha. You're liable for every Malacha you did, because each lack of knowledge is considered a mistake in its own right. Because you do many malachas which are part of one, like they're one av malacha. Yeah, you did an av with its talda in one period of forgetfulness. You only chayv one. Klal Gadol Amar b'Shabbos. Klal Gadol. What do you mean a big klal? Klal shvius. It's shugadim and klal shvius. It's greater than the klal in shmita. Shein Shabbos chalal hakol. Malacha and Shabbos applies to everything. Shvius ain't a chalal avodas haaretz. Shvius is on the land. So come on, Tanina. We learn elsewhere. Klal Gadol Amar b'Shvius. Anything which is a person eats and it's you give it to your animals and it grows for dying. It doesn't stay in the land. You leave it in the land and it would rot. It's got kedusha shvius, right? It's got chivil. And now, Mao, what does it mean? Klal Gadol. What's so great about that? About shvius? Ares ribun. Shul Gadol min a klal maestris. It's more surrounding, more encompasses more than the klal with maestris. Right, Maestris, it says anything which you eat and is guarded and is not hefker, grows from the ground, is chayav Maestris. Shvius covers more. Shvius chala bein aloch le'adam, aloch le'behema, food and animal food. Maestris ain't chala nela aloch le'adam levad. Maestris is only on human food. It's only about kapar. Klal Gadol Amar Maestris. They said Klal Gadol. Mao Klal Gadol. What's the great Maestris? Army is ribun. Shu Gadol me'klal peah. It's more than the klal that you have with peah on the corners of the land. Because in peah it says a klal with peah, right? It's eaten and it's guarded and it grows from the ground, it's gathered in one go, right? Shemaisvus chalin, maisvus is chal bein adav she'en machlis elikim. When you keep something for long term storage, bein adav she'en machlis elikim, well, you don't keep it for long term. Peah ain't chal adav she'en machlis elikim. Peah is only on something which you keep for a long period of time. There is the Bible, and some say Ma'u Gadol mikan sheyesh lematim. The fact that it's great means there are things which are less than it. Yeah, another cloud, there's other klalim as well. Okay. Anan Tanina, we have learned, Kol Shechechi Shabbos. Tonight, the base Rebbe, the Tanit base Medrash of Rebbe learned this din in Harav YCD Kol She'edi Shabbos. Not someone who forgets, but someone who doesn't know. Rabbi Lazar says din Kamas Nisin, like the Nusach Babish, anyone who forgets. Rabbi Yochanan, Chadon Tanit base Rebbe, said it like the way Rebbe taught, someone who doesn't know. Rabbi Lazar said Kol Shechechi Shabbos. Sounds like he knew once about the command of the Torah to keep Shabbos, but after that he forgot. And it's considered a shaking. So if he doesn't know the Torah command in Rosh Shabbos, Pater, then he's Pater from a chatas. Because this halama is like oimer mutter, yeah? You think it's permitted, it's not really permitted. It's not considered a shaking, it's more onus. Okay? Min ma'ad Rav Tani Masnisin. From the story that Rav, like Rabbi Lazar, learned this din in our Mishnah, one who forgets Ikar Shabbos. But nevertheless, he explained it. Ezehu. What's the example of it? She'eni Adea Ikar Shabbos. He doesn't know about Shabbos, like Katan Shishma, a child who was captured, Ben Agoyim. Hadar Amra, this tells me, he Hadar. This faces no difference. So if you never knew Ikar Shabbos, you're like someone who knew and forgot. Right? In both situations, you'll have one chatas. Right? And he says, for the Pirush of Rav, it's clear, that even though the Mishnah says one who forgets, we didn't mean the din is different if you never knew about Shabbos. But according to Rav, the Mishnah holds the din is equal in both cases. And Rabbi Lazar, who taught this din like a Nusach of our Mishnah, he can also explain the Mishnah the way Rav explained it. That it's talking about even someone who never knew about Shabbos. Rabbi Yochanan said anyone doesn't know. Now the Lashon is mashma. In this case, he never knew about Shabbos, so if he does malachas, is chayav one. If he knew about Shabbos v'shachach, but he forgot, and he did many malachas, it's like he knew the din of Shabbos, but he thought it's weekday. Chayav, he has to bring a chatzas for every Shabbos that he was machalal, even if he did it in one period of forgetfulness. Okay, but then the Gemara says no. He said all these halacha. The second case in that Mishnah, you do a malacha b'shegig, you chayav chatzos, a separate one for every Shabbos. That is like Rabbi Lezer, who holds, like the Mishnah increases, that if you do many malachas, or many Shabbos, in one period of forgetfulness, you're chayav for each one. But Ram Karabbanan, according to the Chachamim, which is Rekiva, who asked on him, Eina chayav ela achas. You only chayav one chatzos on all the Shabbos. Hada Amra, this tells me here, that the din is the same. So if you know the Shabbos but you forgot, if you forgot, you are treated like someone who never knew the Kedin Shabbos. In both cases, you're only chayav one chatzos. Okay, I think we will stop here.